Alright, this is going to be boring, but yet I'm doing this kind of like an experiment. This is pinto beans, dry pinto beans, that I'm going to do the quick soak method. It's 6 cups of pinto beans and 7 cups of water. I'm trying to figure out how much water it takes to totally do pinto beans from start to finish, so we can see, is it worth it to pre-cook for the emergencies. And this will be in little increments, trying to keep it short. Keep your fingers crossed that I can keep it short. I'm getting ready for the quick boil. I will boil it for, I think it says 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then I will cut it off and I'll let it set. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. I had put 7 cups of water in here, and you see it is dried up to, it used all of that, and by the time these get through soaking, there's probably going to be little or no water left. I probably should have put 8 or 9 cups, but this is an experiment, trying to see how much water it takes to do all this. So that's still at 7 cups, and I'm going to let this sit for at least an hour. Alright, the quote-unquote fast soak is done now. I had told you this was 7 cups of water. There's almost nothing left, which tells me I probably really should have used more water, but this is a test. I am going to put these into here to drain that little tad of water, and then what I'm going to do, this is 7 cups of clean water. I am going to use this water to rinse with, and we may not watch it blow by blow. You may have to trust me because it's too hard to do all of this and film and everything. Okay, I hope this comes out good. I've never done it this way before, but since, like I said, since this is an experiment, in real life, in a normal situation, I would wash these beans really good before I did the fast soak and even after I do it. There's several reasons. A lot of people say that if you rinse it after, you get rid of a lot of this. There's no telling what all really truly is in this water. Look how dirty that is. Now again, that was 7 cups. That's a pretty good size pot of beans right now. Let me measure how many cups I'm going to need to put in here. And for the sake of doing this all together, I was going to use the Instant Pot, but I'm going to go ahead and cook it in here. Let me see how many cups I'm going to need. Okay. I put 9 cups of water in here. I may, once these beans, if they expand much more, I may have to even divide this up and put them in a larger stock pot or do something else. I did go ahead and put salt, garlic, salt, and pepper on here simply because I'm finding that I do like to go ahead and season them first. At this moment, to get from the beginning to here, I already have 23 cups of water. Alright, now these are done. There is very little water left in here at all after putting 9 cups, and these are fully done. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put them over on these trays. The 6 trays, I'm going to divide them up evenly, put them on these 6 trays, and then put them on my cassori. I will drain that water after a while, but I was just showing you, even at 9 cups, there's not much water left. So I'm gonna get this going. All right. Okay, I'm done. This is the cooking and the dehydrating of the pintos. I'm going to pour just a little bit in each of these bowls. Just a little bit. These are completely cooked, completely hydrated. And what I'm going to do, this is less than a cup of water. I'm only going to put just a little bit, and I warmed it up in the microwave. I never know how much to put in there, and I'll put that on there. Okay, now let me go on to the rest of why I did this. I keep hearing, and my gut is telling me more and more in different places across the world, but here in the United States as well, as time progresses, water, I seriously believe water is going to become an issue. It has off and on, even in my age. I have lived in a place to where it was up in the mountains, and I knew a few people that their wells had gone dry. I've known people here in the South that before their wells have gone dry. I'm not sure what that was about, but anyway. So if you remember, I cooked these beans and started out. Let me get my trusty notes here. I normally don't do anything scientific. The most scientific thing I used to do as a kid was make mud pies, and there was nothing scientific about that. I could barely even spell the word scientific. But I am a curious individual, and I always have been. So I'm asking myself more and more, is it wise to cook our dried beans or dried rice? And if so, why is it wise? Okay, if you remember from the very beginning, I put 7 cups of water into the fast soak. That was 7 cups, which this is 7 cups right there. That's kind of a lot of water. And then to rinse it, I did 7 cups as well. And then whenever I boiled it, I put in 9 cups. And if you remember, at the end of the boiling, there was very little water left over. I don't know that I could have put less water. So anyhow, that's a total of 23 cups of water that I used. And since I'm a visual person, I don't know if y'all are or not, a gallon of water, and I put this on there in case some of y'all don't remember, a gallon of liquid is 16 cups. So this is a full gallon of brand new unopened spring water. So this is 16 cups, and this is, I don't remember if it was a half gallon. I think it was even more than that. But anyway, this is 7 cups of water. So it took a combination of this much water to cook 6 cups of beans. Start to finish, 6 cups of beans. All right, that brings me to this. Are you confident? Right now it's not an issue because I just went to my tap and I turned the water on. Voila, I've got water. But what if the grid is down? What if SHTF? What if hurricane has happened? What if some of these things have happened and you don't have water? That's a lot of water right there. However, if you're going to cook some of this stuff in advance, since it has to be cooked at some point anyway before you can eat beans, you could eat raw, hard as a rock beans. I would not recommend it, but let me show you what goes through my mind. All of us hopefully have water. This is just a great value, just a cheap brand of bottled water. I can either do this much water when things are bad and do the cooking and use valuable resources like gas or propane to cook once the grid is down, and all of these resources, or if I'm smart and I already did them, here's the two choices. These are totally dried and cooked. If it came down to that, I'm deliberately chewing with my mouth open. You can eat these just like this, and to help swallow it down, you open your water and you drink your water. Well, that means you actually don't have to eat that much of this. It swells up once it gets into your stomach, and you still have water to hydrate yourself with. That's one thing. All right, that's only been, well, you saw me put the water in there, and it was very, very little water. I had less than a cup. I put very, very little. Look at how this is. That's almost totally rehydrated. And I used, I would say, only about 3 or 4 tablespoons of water. Oh yeah, that is, look at this, people. And like I said, the bulk of the water is already used. I can use that little water and, number one, rehydrate enough to eat and give myself something to drink. But you do you, people. You watched that live. I hope that's showing up. I need somebody help me. And really, since I seasoned these beans first, they're pretty tasty. There's a good chance that I'm not going to leave this cooked stuff in here to help, just in case you have to become mobile. So like there's a hurricane and you have to become mobile. I'm going to start putting some of these in Mylar bags. I will label them very well. But you, please do you. And I can't make you do this. But I showed you from the beginning to here. I used that much water. And I also showed you I used less than this much water. That still has almost, well, over half a cup left of that. So I'm going to choose this method. I'm going to cook as many of these beans as I possibly can. And if this applies to beans, also let's remember, read the packages. I put less water in my beans than what the package says to put. Unfortunately, I don't have the package because I emptied the beans out. But it's like 6 quarts of water or something. I mean, it's a lot. I put less water than the instructions said. Plus, go back and reread what it says. It says 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or an hour to 1.5 hours. That's a lot of your fuel being spent to cook something that, if it comes down to it, you could do now. Now, obviously, I'm talking to people that have a dehydrator of some sort, which I think I've shown y'all. You can go on Craigslist. There's local sites, sales sites. There's Facebook. You can buy dehydrators for pretty inexpensive. I've shown you all this. I've bought, the cheapest dehydrator so far that I've bought was $40, but it was like a $100 dehydrator that I bought used. You do you. I'm going to try to cook as much as I can now, and then that worry is off of me. You know what I mean? We're going to have enough to worry about one day. Should a disaster strike, should a SHTF, whatever it is, I want to do as much now as I can to help me later. All right, now here's a scripture alert. I don't ever want to just sort of force someone, so here's a scripture alert. That's the whole point of me doing this. You make your choice. For me, the choice is evident. I may need this water. And once you've cooked your beans and then you don't have any water to gulp them down with, I'm not sure the water that's going to be in your cooked beans is going to be enough to sustain your body in the amount of water that you need to sustain life. But you do you, people. I don't want to change that. I'm going to start here in Matthew 24. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake those days should be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if thou shalt say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. These are warnings in red letters by Christ. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. He's given us a warning that people are going to be saying things that just flat is not true. And then I'm going to flip over and I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 8. Whether you believe in the end times or not, that's totally up to you. We're all given choices. And some choices literally are life and death, and some choices are literally where you're going to spend eternity. You have that choice. I have that choice. I have the choice to do this, and so do you. You have the choice to not do this. But if you believe in the Bible, you may understand this and you may have read it. If you don't believe in it, that's fine. You probably aren't here by this time of the video anyway. But for those of us who has ever read the Bible, this is Revelation chapter 8, and I'm going to start in verse 6. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and it were a great, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Now see, that makes no sense to us, but it will on this day. You're not going to understand it until this all starts happening. Verse 9, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third of the rivers, and upon the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. You can even look some of this stuff up. You don't even have to be a believer. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Not only were they made bitter, they were made poisonous. I'm going to end that, but I wanted to show you, biblically speaking, scientifically speaking, And just common sense by looking around at what happens speaking. Look at some of the contaminations when rail cars have tipped over and the chemicals have gone into rivers. There's other things that supposedly are coming from the sky that is messing with rain water. You do you, but at a certain point, you're responsible for yourself. I and others will try to help you come up with ways like this, but it's up to you. People can sit and giggle and say, oh, that poor old woman. I don't know what she's thinking, but bless her heart. Well, okay, that's fine. Days are coming that won't make sense until they do. That's the best I know how to say. I hope you will be all okay. I highly suggest pre-cooking, if you can, as much of these things as you can. For you beginning preppers, so that you're not left out if it comes down to it and you don't have the money to buy a dehydrator. Although I highly recommend trying to do it because dried beans are so inexpensive compared to other things. But if you're in the beginning of it, buy canned goods, canned vegetables, canned soups, whatever you can afford, buy it. If worse comes to worse, open a can and eat it and sustain your life. Try to get you some water. Pull it out of your tap now. Start learning to look up things on how to purify water or make safe drinking water or how to distill your own water. Start learning this now. Write it down, print it out, get the book, whatever it takes. And if you don't believe any of it, well, God bless you. God bless you. You're in my prayers, believe it or not. But we make our own choices. I love you guys. I hope this helps somebody because I really, truly recommend this. This is what I'm going to do with as much as I can while I have water, while I can turn on my tap water and get water, and while I have electricity, even though that electric bill has gone up. I'm going to do it this way and have my water. I also have shared a few videos to where I put maybe ingredients, maybe some vegetables in with your rice or your beans to bring that calorie count up and to bring the benefits of it, the vitamins and nutrients up. There are things you can do. Learn them now. Once water is gone or once there's no food out there, what are you going to do? Love you guys. Take care. And I'm sure this went longer than it meant to. Sorry about that. It just is. I want you well. Love you guys. Bye.